this, we do indeed have a fantastic surprise for you all. I'm just gonna stop for a moment. Let me loop around. Let's try and loop around. We've got what seems to be the Nkuhuma lionesses, which is such a treat. It's so great to see them. At the moment, I've only got 3. Stopped for a quick drink, and they're now looking very much like they're moving mobile to the east. So it could well be that they've been following that buffalo herd. Here we go, one thirsty lady. They are looking hungry. Definitely look like they could use a meal. Now at the moment I've only counted 3 of them. This is very interesting. Now before I say for certain that these are the Nkuhuma lionesses, I will just say that I haven't had a good chance to look at them. I have just been going off the judgment of the other guides. Now, just in case you're wondering where we are, it was indeed their tracks that we were following. They moved north from the Arathusa Dam, and they are now mobile east from Knobthorn clearings towards Triple M boundary. And they're not too far from the boundary now. Try and stay with them. I'm sure that they are hunting. They've got that very hungry look about them. I'm not sure why we're seeing only 3 of them. Loop around and see if we can get ahead of them. Try and stay with them. There's some very interesting things happening here with the lions. I'm going to just focus on where they're going to come out of Triple M. Thank you, Sean. Awesome, man.
And they're going your side after some buffaloes. Next time you want to do that?
I think we might do.
Yeah.
Cheers, man. Thank you. Just saying a big thank you to Sean from Arathusa. Now, Sean was the one to respond to my call about the tracks. They are definitely heading somewhere. We're definitely going to be staying with these lions. Brent is with the buffalo now. Sorry, Jean-Andre, we've got to duck under this cluster leaf. There's a very, very thick area up ahead of us, but we are going to stay with them because they do look as though they're on the move. Now they're about to cross over to Triple M. There's lots of interesting things happening here with the lion dynamics, because apparently these lions were around 16th crossing earlier today, which means that they would have been definitely very, very close to the 2 lions that are suspected to be both Junior and the missing young sub-adult from the Nkuhuma group. Now, I want to be very careful of giving too definite an explanation as to what's happening. I just want to get confirmation that these are indeed the Nkuhumas. They do look to me like they are, but there's only 3 of them here, and I don't know where number 4 is. The guides are just talking about it now on the radio. And they've crossed across Triple M directly east of Knobthorn Clearings, where we play our touch rugby games. Try and stay with him. I'm going to try and get ahead of him. It's a very, very thick block up ahead. Hi guys! Which way are they going? Just double checking which way they're crossing. Now, I know this block is old, it is full of holes, but let's get here. The Lioness is just moving up onto a termite mound. They are definitely on their way to those buffalo. Definitely looking hungry. Let's try and stay with it. It is a very, very thick block. Now that lioness is climbing up onto the termite mound to survey the area, to see what's happening. See if she can spot the buffalo herd. Now the buffalo herd are about 300 meters away from us in that direction. Brent is with them now. Now nobody seems to be too sure which lions these are. I suspect it might be the Nkuhumas, but then we are missing a lioness. I do need to get onto the Game Drive channel and just let everybody know what's happening. Yeah, station, these Ngala are now in the block just to the east of where they crossed on Triple M. They're mobile north towards those in Yari. I would come along Lioness towards Impala Plains. Let's see if we can get through here. We are right in a monkey orange thicket. I'm trying to find us a good way through. We're not going to lose them. Sorry, John, watch out. No, negative, not yet. It is very thick in here. I've still got visual of the gala though. Copy that, will do. Chandra, can you see the Gari repeats anywhere from where you are? Oh, we're just coordinating Brent and myself to make sure we don't miss the under here. You ready? This is very, very interesting stuff, guys. They've got a purposeful look about them. I'm going to cut around ahead of them. Just have to make really sure we don't end up in a burrow like we did last time in this block. Just bear with me a moment if I'm a little bit quiet. I want to just make sure we don't lose them. And it is very, very noisy. Just dodging and ducking holes. Sort of duck my head down quickly. One of the females has just moved into a tree. Now we've only got 3 young lionesses here, and Paul Rizzo has suggested that maybe they might be a bit small to take down a buffalo, and definitely maybe a full-grown buffalo, but the 3 of them would be more than capable of targeting one of the smaller ones, or possibly even one of the weaker ones at the back of the herd. She's down off the tree now. They keep moving to high vantage points, and I'm sure that's partly to help them get an idea of exactly where those buffalo are. Let's try and keep up with them. Bread for Jamie. I have visual of the Gari repeaters to my right. Those Ngoma are still slowly mobile north. I'd say about 150 meters. Copy that, thank you. Yeah, these Ngala are sort of mobile northeast through this block. Look how cool that is. You can see how she's not quite sure of herself on that tree. Feeling a little bit unstable. Time to hop down and follow on. So are we. We're going to find our way through here somehow. Try and loop around this way and avoid some of the aardvark holes that I've seen. Just watching her behavior very, very carefully. Obviously I don't want to compromise them in any way. Andre is doing a sterling job at the back there, ducking and diving the various branches that are coming his way. There we go, on their way. Now, what I would really like to do before they go into serious stalk mode, because I'm just watching all of their body language, and I'm going to try and loop around them to get ahead of them and between them and the buffalo. Obviously without in any way compromising what they're going to set out to do. Stop there. Let's try this way. Still a stop there. They still haven't gone into full hunt mode yet. Now, Marilyn, and I'm sure some of the other viewers might be a little bit concerned about the impact that it will have on what's happening here, and I'm being very, very careful to make sure that we don't in any way compromise what they're doing. So they are after the buffalo, but that's why I made sure that I knew where they were from Brent. Going to duck around one of these other vehicles. Now I promise you, if any indication that we are having any kind of impact, we will immediately stop and stand by. We're making sure to do it in a way that isn't going to compromise them. We need to stop here because we are in an absolute minefield of aardvark burrows, and they're walking between them. There you can see we've still got one of the lionesses, but I have to go around. There's no way directly through here, as one of the other vehicles just discovered as well. Let's just stay here for the moment and see. I've still got visual of two of them. The identity of these lions seems to be escaping most people, myself included. So please guys, take lots and lots of screenshots when we get a good view. And this doesn't quite qualify, but she is going to come through. And when we get a good view, particularly of those whisker spot patterns. There we go, you can hear the buffalo off to my right. But if we do get a good screenshot, then we can go and compare them to any of the other lions that we do see in this area. And Paul Rizzo has even put forward the theory that it might be a different group of lions, which would explain why they are moving through without worrying about the Birmingham boys. And it is, of course, a possibility. This is an open system, so lions can come from anywhere they wish to. But the lions here are quite well kept track of by all of the guides in the various lodges in the various areas. And it does make me wonder. A thought that occurred to me was it could have been part of the Styx breakaway pride, but I'm honestly not too sure. She doesn't seem to be feeling too well, eating a little bit of grass to settle her stomach. very often, just like your domestic cats or dogs might do. When they're not feeling too great, they munch on some grass. Now, if you are a new viewer, just a reminder that this is a live safari. So this is happening right here in real time, which explains a little bit of our confusion as to who they might be. Now, our first thought was the Nkuhuma pride. Just having a look at her body language. Now they're heading off a little bit away from the buffalo, and that could well be due to their size, as mentioned before, that they are making sure that they sneak up and around the buffalo herd without taking on one of the other ones. I do need to reposition before we lose them, and we need to go around this minefield of aardvark burrows. Try and keep our movements away from where the ground collapses. That only takes that happening once on a drive for you to learn from those kinds of mistakes. Let's drive through the silver bush. Good there? Let's just loop around. Now, I mentioned that it could be the Nkuhuma pride, for those of you who might be joining us for the first time. And that was originally when I started working for Wild Earth in July. That was a pride of 8 lions strong, and apparently 9 lions in February before I started here. Just going to loop around here. But over the last few months, they've been quite seriously compromised by an influx of 5 young male lions who've come through. They killed their first one, I think, probably at the beginning of August sometime. Okay. Here we stop. Now look at her body language. Just have a look at the way that she's looking. She's looking directly in the direction of that buffalo herd. They're probably tucked away in the bushes. I just got a glimpse of them. They are probably, the closest one is about 100 meters away from where she is. And she's spotted them. She definitely knows they're there. I think she's going to make her way to that termite mound that's off to the right. And I think she's going to go up there and have a look. Now I just want to get, before this hunt gets underway, I'm going to get onto a road so that we don't cause too much crashing damage and noise. Stop here for the moment. Although we don't have the most fantastic view of her now, she is going to move into our view, and we've got quite a nice open patch here. Now, once this hunt does get underway, I'm going to be quite restricted about how I can move so that I don't in any way compromise them. So we're going to stop here and we're just going to watch what she does. She's moving directly into the wind. Now, I I know that Brent is around here somewhere. I'm not sure if he can see me or not. I just want to get hold of him on the Game Drive channel. Let's just see what she does. Brent for Jamie. Do you have my visual? Copy that, thank you. Now Brent has moved away from where the buffalo are. And we're just going to have a look at what Brent is seeing. So we're going to go across to him, but I'm still going to be with you. I'm going to be talking to you as we do. So here's Brent and what he's looking at, and I'm going to keep describing what this lioness is doing.
That's like
You can see just by her body language, she's definitely thinking about going into hunt mode. She's glancing behind her. The other two females had actually stopped a little bit further back and are hiding behind a termite mound just out of our sight. And she's definitely taking the lead here. She's just lying down against the edge of the termite mound. Now I think that's just to give herself a little bit of assessment time in terms of figuring out what's happening with these lions. Now, there are the buffalo. I'm just going to try and get you a visual. There you go. That's the edge of the buffalo herd. Now for these three lionesses, hunting's a little bit more tricky because they are smaller, they don't have a male with them, and they need to be quite careful. They cannot risk injuring themselves for the sake of obtaining some food. So they need to be very, very patient, which is what this lioness is doing. She's just taking the opportunity to scope out what's happening. And while she is lying down, I'm going to take this opportunity just to reposition. I'm actually going to reverse down the road so that we can get a view of both the lioness and the buffalo. This buff herd is all around us, but I do need to be able to see her face in order to determine which ones she might think of going for. I can hear buffalo crashing around all around me, so all the way from where that other vehicle was all the way around down to here. So we're right on the tail end of the herd, but it is a very, very big herd. You'll know from Brent's sighting, when he had them crossing the road, that there's lots around here. Going to reposition so that we do have a good view of her, but that we've also got a nice route to drive if she does start to chase, if there is a hunt that started. Let's just loop around and see what these guys do. She's standing. She's not facing the buffalo. I think she's actually looking to see where the other females have gone. There we can hear the sounds of the buffalo, as well as have quite a nice view of this lioness. And please guys, take lots of screenshots and send them through to us, and you can send them through on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. And I know that Lynn and lots of other viewers are wondering where we are. We crossed over Triple M from Arathusa, where these lionesses were, and we moved across onto Djuma. So we are on Djuma at the moment. We're very, very close to Balanites Road. In fact, the closest point to us is probably one of our repeaters that helps us with our broadcast signal. Whoever she is, she's a very beautiful lioness. There you can see she's got a nice vantage point from the top of that termite mound. I'm not too sure where the other two lions are, but I can see another vehicle about 50 meters behind her. So that's probably where her two sisters are. But she's definitely the female who's taken the lead so far. Now, patience is a virtue. Now, just because she's lying down doesn't mean she isn't thinking about hunting. I think that's exactly what she's thinking about doing. She just has to make sure that she picks out the weakest link of that buffalo herd. And buffalo can be incredibly aggressive in their defense of other herd members, as well as in defense of their own lives. And an attack on buffalo means facing a lot of horns and a lot of kicking hooves. And it's not unheard of for the tables to be turned and to lions to find themselves suddenly attacked from buffalo. Just going to grab my binoculars and have a look at her face. To me, she looks like a young lioness. And Janet, you've picked up on the fact that she doesn't have all that many scars. No, she's actually not that young. She's got quite a lot of dark on her nose, which is what I'm looking at because I can't see her canines. So her teeth would be the best way of aging her, but her nose is also quite a good way. Now, Janet, it could well be that they simply haven't had any major injuries. Although I agree with you, that's why I at first thought it was quite a young lioness, just because she does seem so intact. It also makes me think twice about it being a member of the Nkuhuma pride, just because all of them have been in so many different clashes with the Birmingham boys that we've heard about. So those young male lions that I would expect to see. Oh, hello. Sudden surprise. It suddenly popped up over the side of the termite mound. There's also another lioness, the other lioness, poking her head around the side. Isn't that beautiful? She's coming up to join. We're going to see the typical ritual head rub greeting between lionesses. Oh, or not. That was interesting. Obviously very intently focused on what is happening out there. Okay guys, get your screenshots ready to go and let's all figure out who these lions are. I wish I had my camera on me, I don't. But look at those three very alert faces looking off at the buffalo herd. You can see watching off in the distance, just seeing what's happening. please, as soon as you have taken those screenshots, please send them through. I'm desperate to know who these lionesses are. The two on the left, or at least the one on the left and the one at the back, are exhibiting much more relaxed body posture than the one on the right. I'm not sure if that's just because she's lying in a way that's making her look uncomfortable. She does have slightly different. I'm just going to get my binoculars out again and let's have a proper look at these lions. Tax has just come through. I'm going to get him on the radio in a moment and ask him if he knows who they might be. Hello, how are you? Oh, big yawn. Yeah, there's three. Do you know who they are? So you think it's Nkuhuma's?
Nkuhuma, yeah.
It is Nkuhuma's.
Yeah, Nkuhuma.
Here we go. She's up now. Sorry guys, I was just talking to Tax, who thinks it might be the Nkuhumas. Apparently there was a fourth lioness with them earlier today that has gone missing. Hello, big girl. Now I'm not sure if that was the way that the light caught her eyes, but she did seem to have very, very amber eyes. I'm just stopping for a moment because she's walked right behind me. So I'll try and keep an eye on where she's going, as well as on the other two. Now, if it is the Nkuhumas, we will be able to tell fairly quickly, because I'm sure a lot of you have screenshots of them, and I know a lot of the presenters have lots of photographs of them. So we'll be able to have a look and compare whisker spot patterns. Now, Tax seems to think that it is the Nkuhumas. He seems certain of it. Which makes us wonder now, if it is Junior on Elephant Plains, which is what I was told, with that young sub-adult female, then it could be that the fourth female has moved across to join them there. But why the other three haven't, I'm not too sure. I think there's going to be lots of conversations tonight about what's happening here with this pride. Chandra, can you still see the other female? I'm just trying to look around behind me. So we're going to have to stay with these two. She has moved off behind my position of my vehicle, and I think just to scope things out. But she's definitely not going to be taking on one buffalo on her own. So we'll stick with these two for now, just have a look at what they're up to. Now this is the perfect opportunity for photos, and I'm going to ask Chandra to just take a few so that we can supplement the wonderful screenshot through. We can use them to work out who these guys are. It may have been a trick of the light, but when that one lioness did walk past us, she looked like she had much more amber eyes than the other lions I've seen. Might have just been a trick of the light. It is getting a little bit dark. Now, many of you are picking up on the fact that that lioness's eyes were yellow, so not our amber-eyed lioness. These two seem fairly peaceful. Big yawn. Now, yawning usually precedes exactly that, which is getting up and moving. Obviously, I can't turn the car on when she's right next to us, so we'll just wait for her to pass. Hello, big girl. Who are you? Now, at this point, because 2 of the 3 have moved off, I'm just going to wait for the vehicle movement to stop, and then we're going to reposition. Make sure I keep a good eye on where she's going. I'm going to stay with the moving lionesses now. This one will follow soon. About having these wonderful short wheelbase Land Rovers is that we do get a little bit more maneuverability. Somebody is trying to call me. I just want to respond. Standing by. No problem. Sean found them on Arethusa. Okay. Let's see what this lioness is up to. Now, the buffalo herd have actually moved quite far from these lions. And this is where things get a little bit tricky. Stop here for the moment. I just want to listen to what's happening, just like she is. Still hear the buffalo moving ahead of me, as I'm sure she can. She's settled down for the moment. I'm going to stick with her for now. I saw a flash of the other lioness move in this direction. Not sure where she's gone, the lead lioness, but we'll stick with this one and see what they're up to. you will notice that the light has started to fade. And Paul, on Twitter, you were wondering if these lionesses might be waiting for after dark before they go after a buffalo. And I think that is a very, very strong possibility. I think that is exactly what they're doing. I just need to use my ears for a moment. Just to hear where that other female is. So, as nocturnal predators, they have the absolute advantage once it does get dark. And especially on a night like tonight, it is a perfect hunting night. It's completely overcast. Once the sun sets, there won't be any or very much ambient light at all. And this is where the lions really come into their own. So they've got night vision that even on a night like tonight, they will be able to see as clearly as we can during the day. Even if they don't necessarily see in color, but they'll be able to pick out everything as distinctly as we would be able to. And that could be exactly what they're doing, especially because they are down to 3 at the moment. It would work to their advantage. This is a young lioness that we're looking at, to me. She's got quite a lot of pink still on her nose. And although I can't see them, I can still hear the buffalo all around me. So they are around, and the sun is going to set probably in the next 5 or so minutes. And because of all of this cloud around us, it's going to get dark very, very quickly. Now, apparently the sun actually has already set. It's set at 5:47, which was 2 minutes ago. We still have some ambient light around us, as you can see, but it's going to get dark very, very quickly. And then we're going to start to see a lot of action from these lions. I'm sure that they're going to be on the hunt tonight. I just want to hop onto the Game Drive channel and let them know where we are. Oh, never mind. Got somebody who's already updated them. Oh, big yawn. As I mentioned before, very often yawning like that is not necessarily a sign of tiredness. It can be an indication that the lions are about to get up and move. This one female's already come through. That was the female who was lying on the termite mound that we left. So these two are definitely taking a back seat when it comes to this buffalo hunt. And that makes absolute sense, because you don't want more than one lion making more noise than necessary on basically what is a reconnaissance mission. So she's going to go and look and see if she can find a weak link to that buffalo herd. And the minute something happens or she spots something, we will see a change in the behavior of these lionesses. Now, what she could well do, they are directly, almost directly downwind of where the buffalo herd is. And what she could do is try and sneak up to them and even chase one of them towards these two. And it's phenomenal to think how they manage to communicate with each other. quite often through visual cues that we don't even pick up on from their side. Now, this lioness is just hopping up. I just want to see where she's going and what she's up to. Her body language just changed a little bit. She's looking very intently in the direction of the buffalo. But the other lioness hasn't moved. And I think she's just trying to ascertain where her sister is and what she's doing. Now, Brent is on the edge of the buffalo herd, and we're just going to... No, hold on, let's just see what this female does. Let's just wait a moment before we do anything. Her posture's changed quite significantly. You can see how on alert she is. Now, if she does start to hunt, we will have to stay switched off. We can't follow until they've actually managed to catch something. Otherwise, we do run a serious risk of disturbing their hunt. So let's just sit quietly for the moment. She's gone into alert mode. The other lioness is still lying down, quite relaxed. Okay, so she's relaxed her body posture just a bit, and I know that Brent is on the edge of the buffalo herd. So we're going to cut across to him briefly just to see what he's been up to, and then we're going to be back with the lions very quickly. But never fear, if something does change, we'll be back with these lions immediately.
Welcome back, guys. Isn't this really exciting? Nkuhuma's back and on the trail of this big herd of buffalo. So while Jamie sits with the lions, I'm trying to stay at the nose of the buffalo herd and keep with the buffalo. So if those lions charge, we'll have one vehicle in the right place to hopefully be there with the lions. So the majority of the herd is moving across. We're near the back end of the herd, so I'm going to move again quite shortly. The lions are probably 100 to 200 meters to the south of me, and we're just standing by here, and I'm going to keep my ear to the ground to see if those lions do start moving, and then we'll pop straight across to Jamie. But in the meantime, we're going to sit here, and hopefully the Nkuhumas are on their way to a successful buffalo hunt. So that was just an argument between two buffalo. Now they're giving each other funny looks, and it looked like two cows didn't have a good idea where each other were. And quite often you find some of the cows are blind and they just hooked each other, and one got a fright and they ran. And in these big herds you have that herd mentality, and you might find the lions might have taken the opportunity while there's a bit of confusion to move closer. So we're pretty much right at the tail. There's probably about 150 buffaloes here, and then there's probably about 250 here. There's probably about 300 in total, and the lions are probably waiting for it to get a bit darker and get that nocturnal advantage, and especially with a dark, cloudy sky like we've got tonight, it's excellent buffalo hunting weather for lions.
So welcome back, and indeed the lions are on the move. I just have to dodge the stump we are on. See if we can get around it. As soon as this lioness starts to stalk, I'm going to stop our pursuit, especially because it is very, very noisy. Yeah. She's just ahead of me. Let's just stop here, see what she does. Let's just stop for a moment. I know that it is very dark, but I do not want to in any way compromise what she is doing. Okay, she's not stalking just yet. She is moving very purposefully through. Stay with her. Let's keep up with where she's heading. Sorry, Djuma, you're going to have to duck again. Stop here for the moment. There's the one lioness. The other one is coming up behind her. Alright guys, we're going to have to very soon, as soon as they start to stalk, we are going to have to drop our lights and we're not going to be able to follow behind them. Now, Auntie Lynn, you were wondering if the buffalo are aware of the presence of the lions. And the answer is I don't think so. They've approached precisely downwind, which is what they are continuing to do, is just follow behind the buffalo herd at quite a safe distance, and of course completely silently. So the buffalo, as far as I can tell, haven't seen them or smelt them. And Auntie Lynn, there's actually a good chance that if the buffalo were aware of them, they might even come and investigate closer where the lions were. Stopping here, and I'm just turning my lights off. I just want to stop and have a listen and make sure that we're not going to compromise anything. I can hear the buffalo moving ahead of me. I can see all three lionesses at the moment. I'm going to just pop my side lights on for the moment, just so we can see the one moving through. They've also just heard some impala, so we're just going to sit here for the moment. I cannot put my lights on them at the moment. The impala are very, very close to them, and they're distracted. They're actually arguing with each other. We do just have to sit here and see what happens. The lionesses are looking like they're going to start stalking. Craig is also just standing by on that side. listening very carefully. One of the other vehicles has been asked to just stop exactly where he is. Now, it is just one of those things about a lion hunt, is that if it does happen, we are going to hear it very, very clearly. Okay, a lion hunt or a lion kill is not very quiet, including when they kill the animal and then once they start to feed. But we do just have to sit quietly for now. There's 3 vehicles around them. All of us have switched off and turned our lights off. And that is just because we do not want to interrupt them in any kind of way. So for now, we just have to concentrate on what we're hearing and just try and work out exactly what's going on. The impala to me sounded like they were just over there and probably less than 50 meters away. They were making those sort of general grunting sounds that they make when they start to fight a little bit. And that was not in any way an alarm call to the lion presence. And the buffalo have just moved off. They're actually everywhere. I can hear them all around me. But I think the closest one is probably about 100 meters away. Now, I just want to get onto the radio to Craig and ask, oh, excuse me, if they've crossed the road yet. He's just there on Zoe's road. Craig for Jamie. No, do you still have visual of those mufuzzies? Okay, copy that. Do you think I can make my approach, or am I going to disturb them? Copy that, thank you. So I'm just asking Craig, who's a little bit closer to where they have stopped. Negative just the 3 when I started this afternoon. I just wanted to ask Craig what the best approach would be without disturbing him in any way. And he suggested that we turn around and go around him, which is what we're going to do. Very, very careful about where we drive in this block. Move around some aardvark holes. Just going to creep up nice and slowly, just to make sure we don't disturb anything. Just to let you know, the only reason that I actually started moving through was because I double checked with Craig, who could see them, and they were all lying down. I'm just going to hop on the radio. Copy that, thanks. I will stand by here for now, just so that we don't disturb anything. And Now we just moved through because I had word that the lionesses were lying down on a termite mound. So they were settled, they weren't stalking, they weren't hunting, which is why I took the opportunity to move. But they've just called me now, which is exactly why I've stopped, to say that they look like they're going to start to stalk. So we're going to sit here and we're going to be very, very quiet, and we're just going to watch and see what happens. We definitely can't move any closer, and we definitely can't put any lights on. Let's just sit and listen to what's happening out in the darkness. You'll be able to hear the buffalo as well. Let's just look out into the darkness and see what we can see. You can hear the buffalo calling. There you hear that sort of mooing sound that we can hear. And the lions are just in the block to the other side of this road, which I didn't want to follow too closely behind. So for those of you who were a little bit concerned if we were moving through that block, it is thick and loud, but I did make sure I kept a nice big distance between the lions, or between me and the lions, and I only moved when they were settled down. And when they started to get close to the buffalo, which they are now, we're going to just stop and sit here for the moment and listen. Now essentially the approach that they are going to adopt is the one will try and sneak around and chase one of the weaker members of the herd towards the other two. Now for 3 lions of that size, it is probably going to have to be one of the younger, smaller buffalo, or possibly even one of the sick looking ones, one of the ones that's looking a little bit thin, a little bit under the weather. Sorry guys, just being called on the radio. Yeah, Craig, sorry, go again with that message. Okay, copy that, I will do. I just don't want to disturb anything, so just let me know if it's okay to approach. Craig's just letting me know that the lionesses have settled down again, and they are not in the process of stalking just yet. They've stopped again, showing a remarkable degree of patience. So I'm going to sneak forward. Let's creep forward. Stop here. Apparently it is, or the lionesses are just on the termite mound in front of me. Now obviously I can't turn my lights on to have a look, but they are probably, that termite mound is probably, I'd say about 40 meters in front of us, and they've just stopped and they're lying down there, just like they were earlier when they were moving through after the buffalo. It could well be that we spend quite a good deal of time with them, because they are so few in number, and there are already 3 of them. So let's just stop for a moment and look out into the dark and see what we can hear. There's a lot of crickets as well, so I'm just going to be very, very quiet. Let's see what we can hear. sure you could hear how the wind is gusting around us, and it's blowing straight this way into my face, which is exactly the way that the lions have been following the buffalo whilst remaining undetected. So you can hear all of the buffalo moving off into the block to my left, and the wind is just masking the lions' approach. And they couldn't really ask for better hunting conditions than they have right now at this point. There's very, very little light. They can see perfectly. The buffalo can't really see that well, and the wind is absolutely perfect for them. And with a huge herd, like a buffalo herd like this, it can be quite easy to just pick one off from the back without the rest of the herd noticing. You can hear all of the crashing and the breaking of branches, and many of our regular viewers will have heard how much noise a buffalo herd makes when they're moving through an area. And it's going to work well to the advantage of these, if they are the Nkuhuma lionesses, for these Nkuhumas. Now, I've only had the briefest view of this buffalo herd, but Chanel Ma has noticed that there are a lot of calves within this breeding herd. Now, I only picked up on one or two, but I was only really looking at the back end of it, and they were quite far away from where we were at the time. So I'm going to take your word for it. It does sound like it was a very, very big herd, and there should be, in a substantial herd of 500 or so, there should be at least 50 or so calves for these lions to be able to take on and hunt. And for these three, I'm not sure how many of you were watching the sunrise safari, but we did stop and pick up a young buffalo skull that was killed by the Nkuhumas just a couple of weeks ago, and we had a look at the size. Now, just personally, my opinion, I think that's probably the biggest calf that they're going to be able to take on, just the three of them. Sort of an 8 to 9 month old calf. But then they're going to have to keep a close eye on the mother as well and the rest of the herd. And that, I just want to be quiet for one moment. I think I heard something. There seem to be impala alarm calls. I just want to... It's quite difficult over the sound of the wind as well as the buffalo moving through. But I think I heard an impala bark. It could be that one of the lionesses has tried to loop around and has been spotted. All gone quiet again though. If it was the lion that was picked up on, you would definitely hear more frantic close alarm calls. So it's not the lion. Whatever they're shouting at, it's not the lion. Now, of course, it's really, really difficult to tell in these dark situations because I can't see exactly where everything is, and I have to kind of go off the sounds that I'm hearing as well as what I've been told by one of the other guides who's a little bit closer to where the lions were. Now, Heather, you were wondering, as I'm sure many of the other viewers were, whether or not the lions have decreased the distance between them and the buffalo, and they absolutely have. As soon as it started to get dark, they started to push just that little bit closer and that little bit closer. And I'm sure that what they're waiting for is complete blackness, just to be able to see off into the distance and to see what's happening there. still listening very, very carefully to see if we hear any kind of alarm calls or anything like that. One of the other vehicles is just pulling out of the sighting. There we go, that was an alarm call. That was a snort very, very close to us. And almost definitely in response to these lionesses. Now, I can't turn my lights on. I'm sure that they're here somewhere. Sorry, Brent's just calling me on the radio. Standing by. Just confirm, are you to the east of me? Okay, copy. Are you still quite far? I'd say probably about 200 meters or more. They were just on the side of the road when I last saw them. So Brent is in the block. He's just off to the left of me. Okay, yours is just telling me that they've moved off into the block, which means that we can switch on our lights for a moment and just get a scan of what's happening. I just want to let Brent know that. Yeah, Brent, did you copy that about those Ngala moving off? I think a little bit to the south of where you are. I'm just going to switch on my side lights now so that you can see where I am. Very, very still and very quiet. Let's do a bit of a scan. I just want to communicate with Brent as well. Okay, copy that. I can still hear a lot of the herd members quite close to me, probably within 50 meters. Apparently these Ngala headed almost straight east from my position. Just going to move forward slightly and then we're going to have to stop and listen. We can't go crashing after them in the block in the dark because we don't know exactly where they are or what they're doing. So we're going to have to rely entirely on our senses and differentiate between the typical buffalo noises that we might hear, the sort of mooing and grunting that you all will have become familiar with whenever they bump into each other and get into each other's personal space, and then the proper sound of distressed buffalo. So there will be lots of running through trees, and they do run through trees. They don't run around trees when it's a herd of panicked buffalo. And then we're also listening for any kind of distress calls or distress moves. But we definitely can't go thundering through the block after these lions. Not at this point, not at this distance from the buffalo and from the lions. Just having a look at where the other vehicle is, not too far from us. Also just listening to where everybody is positioned so that we know who's going to be able to hear what and when. in this block. It's all gone absolutely dead quiet. Just the occasional moo of the buffalo, completely unsuspecting in that block. There's no way that they know that the lions are there, or we would know about it. Now, let's just see what Brent is up to. So he's probably about 200 meters into the block away from me, but he's also right in the middle of the buffalo herd in the direction that the lions were heading. So let's go across to him, see what he's up to, and I will be back with you a little bit later as soon as there's any kind of action over here.
Welcome back, everyone. Can you feel the tension in this dark and stormy night? So the lions are somewhere quite close to me now. They've left where Jamie is. I'm sitting on the edge. I've got buffalo less than 10 meters away from me, and we're just sort of waiting for that pandemonium to break out. When a buffalo herd runs from a pride of lions, it almost sounds like the earth is breaking. It is a shattering noise and incredible. So we're very lucky that we've got 2 vehicles in this position, and I've been able to just keep on the periphery of this buffalo herd and try to guess where the lions might charge through, while Jamie's been following the lions from the back. Obviously now, as it's got dark, we've had to stop moving. We don't want to affect in the lions' favor or in the buffalo's favor. We are observers here. We're not here to change the outcome of the situation. So this is a really, really good chance that the Nkuhumas, or 3 of the Nkuhumas, might be able to make a buffalo kill this evening. They might not make it in the next hour. I've seen lions follow buffalo herds all night. The fact that some of the buffalo are bedding down near us is a good sign. You can still hear the herd all around us. I'm going to keep quiet in a minute or two and let you listen to it. But fingers crossed, we're in the right spot. Jamie's in the right spot, and hopefully we do manage to catch a little bit of action this evening. Sorry guys, don't worry, they've taken over the Game Drive channel for me. So guys, just to let you know, we're so confident that something might happen, that we're going to extend drive this evening, and hopefully something happens in the next little while. So I'm going to keep quiet, and I'm going to get Brian to switch off the light to give you an idea of how pitch black it is here. So literally, you cannot see your hand in front of your face, and obviously this suits the lions down to a T. They've got incredible nighttime eyesight, and it does make a benefit for the lions. You can hear the buffalo all around us. You can just see my monitor there, and we can pop the light back on. Here we go. I'm back. See, I didn't even move, and Brian kept the camera around me, and you couldn't see me. You literally cannot see your hand in front of your face. Just another buffalo having a little argument, probably a little horn in the armpit. And if the lions go, we're going to hear a very different noise to that. I've been very fortunate in my time in the bush that I've spent a lot of time with lions hunting buffalo, and most of the hunts actually happen during the night, and so I've spent a lot of time sitting in the dark listening to the buffalo lion interaction. So basically, once that stampede goes and you hear that, that's when all our lights will come on. Whatever happens after that is beyond us interfering, so we will be standing by. And a lot of you might think it's quite dangerous. I'm sitting below the buffalo herd with the lions above. It's not. So I'm just going to try to fiddle with this. the buffalo will literally part around me, so they're not going to run over the vehicle. So don't worry about Brian and myself. We're completely safe here. I've done this a few times before. Very exciting. So unfortunately we're still having a little breakup on comms. I think it was Louise on Twitter. It says she's surprised the buffalo are making so much noise. Well, when there's 350 of you, it's really difficult not to make a noise. So there's lots of little arguments and they bump each other, and there's a calf suckling, or a calf might get separated from a mother. We heard that earlier, and that distress. I mean, it's literally like an invitation to the lions, and it is very, very difficult for them not to make a noise. They are big animals, and there are a lot of them. Just going to pop my spotlight on up in the air, and you can see just ahead of me there, on the edge of the light, we're completely surrounded by buffalo. So you can see their eyes there, lots of buffalo around. There, you see, there's another one there. So we're not going to put the lights on them for too long, just showing you we're in the right spot, and hopefully the lions aren't feeling too lazy and we'll make a play shortly. Forgive me turning around. I'm just listening, and I'm just keeping my ears going. Well, as you can see, it's so pitch black. Zoot from New England says we should have night vision goggles for the presenters and night vision cameras or lenses for the cameramen, so the viewers at home can watch. And hopefully one day that might happen, but till then we're just going to have to play the patience game. So I'm just turning around every now and then. At the moment my ears aren't facing away when I look at the camera from where the buffalo and the lions possibly are, so forgive me not looking at you guys. I do have to sort of keep an eye on, or an ear on, what's going on behind us. It's amazing, sometimes in these situations you can actually hear the lions go before the buffalo realize, and it's a much softer. And then, and literally sounds like an earthquake. 350 stampeding beasts, each weighing around 1,000 pounds. All the adults at least. Another quick. You can see there's a buffalo right there. They're still grazing, taking advantage of the nice succulent new shoots. As I said, we don't put the light on for very long. We just have a look. I don't normally actually need to do that, but just so you guys can see how close the buffalo are to us, I can hear them. I mean, you can hear that. I'm going to ask Final Control to pump the volume up so you guys can actually listen to this. So I'm sure you guys can hear these buffalo all around us. Isn't it amazing? The wind's picking up. Maybe that's the catalyst we've been waiting for these lions to make a move. There's impala alarm calling towards quarantine. I don't think it's from the lions. Scott is standing by on quarantine. I'm just going to see if he knows what could be there. Scott. Scott, confirm you're getting those impala alarm calls around the western edge of quarantine. Buffalo actually seem to be moving closer to us. We've got such an array of noises that you wouldn't think would come out of a cow. Okay, copy. One little sudden gust of wind might betray the lions, and we might get a stampede. Sorry, Jamie, go again. I think Scott was standing by in quarantine, so I think he's going to go have a quick look. Is that enough light to make out that buffalo here? No. We're about to get engulfed. I'm just going to flip my side lights on for a second. You can see there on the edge, and we are literally being surrounded by buffalo at the moment. Copy, thanks, Scott. So, Judith says she can also hear these buffalo feeding around us. And we've got to wonder, with only 3 lionesses, are they going to attempt, or will they maybe go around and try for something smaller? It is a bit of an ask for 3 lionesses to take down an adult buffalo. Not impossible by all means, and especially not at this time of the year. So very interesting to see what happens, what unfolds here. Even if nothing happens, it tells a story in itself. Don't know if you guys could hear that. It's a hyena calling as well. Maybe because there's only 3 of them, they might attempt rather a calf than an adult, but the adult might defend that calf very aggressively. I know a lot of you have heard me say many times, the most important things when you're in the bush and when you're following predators on the hunt is patience. There's movement. It could have been from the wind, then maybe it sounds like they might have smelt. Maybe the wind changed a gust, and these buffalo are moving ahead of me now. I'm just gonna pop my... But they're still not too stressed. Maybe just a slight whiff of lion on the air. And we've got an update about the rest of the pride. So we've got 3 lionesses here. Apparently the junior was found on a buffalo carcass on Sibambili with one of the missing sub-adults that we presumed might be dead. And as well, they're on the move again. As well as later, an adult lioness arrived. So very interesting, and hopefully they will join up tomorrow on the sunrise safari. Now they seem to be moving with a little bit more purpose now. I think they maybe got a whiff of lion. You can see them through there. Sorry guys, just give me a second. There we go. Listen to that, it's like an earthquake. We're just gonna sit tight and listen. Hey, firm yours. I'm not sure if they chased or they smelt, but I think they have missed. But I'm just going to stand by for another minute or two before I move. It's just got a slight rumble. 350 hooves. But it wasn't what I was expecting. Not lion. Now, the wind's swirling like... Listen to that. There's going to be a lot of confusion, dark, windy, the wind's gusting, they maybe got a whiff of lion, they're not sure, they're not stampeding off, but they're definitely not sure about what's going on, they're not comfortable at all. I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but if I hold my spotlight up, I'm suddenly being encased in dust from all these buffalo moving. You can see all this dust. We've still got all the buffalo, and they're taking up defensive position, and there's a lot of bulls opposite us here, big old boys, and they're now facing us. Wouldn't be surprised if we start... Sorry, Brian. And if we have a look here, look at this dust swirling, so there's lots and lots of... They're on the move again. They're running back this way now. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. We can't actually move now. There we go. Listen to that. Yes, and now we're getting covered in flies as well from these buffalo. There we go. That's it. Yours, if you can, head towards that 2-track that runs to the western side of quarantine. Hold on guys, I think the lions are actually turned and chased by the buffalo. Just hang on, we'll try and get there as soon as possible. Just saw what I thought was a glimpse of a lion run past here, and it looks like the buffalo formed a lager. They've now turned around and run straight back towards me. I can't see any Ngala yet. So, lions rely on a lot of confusion on these dark and windy nights, and buffalo will get separated, a calf might get separated, and it's really difficult for us to work out what's going on. So as you hear that distress, but it could be a buffalo just being run over by another buffalo, it could be a lion on the back of one, and we're on a really thick bunch of bush. Sorry guys, I'm just listening to try to figure out what's going on. Buffalo stampeding all around us. Look at that dust in the air. There's Nadia now heading back south near the lions. Okay, we're on them. I knew I saw a ghost of a lioness just a little few seconds ago. Hold on. We're going to be in the middle of this pandemonium now. So unsuccessful. I thought I saw the buffalo turn around and chase the lions, but this is by no means over. There's the buffalo right behind her. Okay, lights off. She's going to stalk again. So what happens is they rely on this pandemonium, and maybe, I'm not sure where the other lionesses are. The buffalo are 30 meters away. She's just over there. Oh, she's on the move. Unfortunately, this is not the easiest area to operate in. Anything. There she goes. I've just seen a glimpse of her in my side light. Buffalo running that way. Watch my light. She's just run through here. Jamie, I've got the lions. They just had a go. They're busy chasing the buffalo again. I've got two lionesses who have just run past me. Negative. I'll put my spotlight in the air for you. Lions are in that direction there, so towards, I'm a bit discombobulated at the moment, towards the sort of southwest. There we go. There's a lion on top of a buffalo. Hang on guys! Oh, she's come off. But there we go, you see how there's a lioness in front of us testing. There's another lioness off to the side, and they're going to do this constantly. So the buffalo are well aware, that's why my lights are on. They know where the lions are. It's just for that initial sort of charge that we don't keep our lights on at night, because she's testing the buffalo. There she comes. She's testing the buffalo. There's probably one of the other lionesses close by. I saw two now, and they're looking for weakness. They're looking for a young calf or a sickly adult to take down. So the reason our lights are still on, because this is quite a different scenario from when we're normally following hunting. So for that initial charge, we will keep our lights off. Now the buffalo are very much aware of exactly where the lions are, and the lions are just going to keep walking into them. You'll probably find, oh, she's going to lie down. The lions will get chased as much as they chase, and they're just going to keep testing this herd till they can find a weakness. Especially with 3 lionesses, they're not going to be as brave as they were when they were a bigger pride. They're going to take less risk. So for them it'd be ideal to try get a nice young calf or an old female who's not in very good condition. And the buffalo know if they run too far and they turn their backs too much, it's also not very good for them. Yeah, the buffalo up ahead of us, and we can see she was no more than 30 meters from those buffalo just now. There the buffalo are, there she is, and there's probably another lioness, judging from where the buffalo are running, that's pushing them from the other side. There we go, we've got all 3 lionesses with us now. So the buffalo are there, the lions there. See what I mean? The buffalo can see the lions can see the buffalo. They're just constantly pushing, looking for a weakness. Jamie? Oh, I seem to have lost my comms with everyone. Well, let's stay with the lions for now. We can worry about comms issues later. There's lionesses. Lost sight of them now for a second. They're down. Isn't this incredibly exciting, folks? So we've got another vehicle there. So we're both positioning ourselves in the best spot to see what's going on. I've got a lioness off in the distance and buffalo just behind it. So they're continuing to push, and that's why we're keeping our lights on this situation. Both animals are completely aware of where the other is, and that's why we are able to. Oh, there we go, and she's chasing again. The buffalo have changed direction again. I've still got it. Okay, let's go. Hold on everyone, off we go again. We've got the lions right in front of us. The buffalo are no less than 15-20 meters away. And there we go. Just pushing these buffalo, pushing them, looking for that weakness. And quite often the buffalo will turn around and chase them. Which is about to happen. Yeah, she's running from a buffalo. So it's very much a testing game. See the lions running from the buffalo now? Unfortunately, I seem to have lost all comms. I'm not sure what I've done. I've probably done something in my excitement, but everything seems to be on. Okay, let's get back with them. There, the buffalo chasing the lions now. And now the lions have turned the table and walking back towards the buffalo. There's the buffalo. About to chase the lions, gonna stay on the buffalo, chasing the lion. There's the lion. Isn't this amazing? lioness who's managed to get. So we've got one lioness there. I've seen another one just there, and I think the other is just on the other side of this big tree in front of us. Now watch these buffalo. They're probably going to run at this lioness again. Oh, there's a little drainage line. I just saw her back behind. So guys, I'm afraid we might have to listen to a bit of the radio. I've lost comms, so I'm going to have to take the game drive radio off. And stations, can you copy me now? I think there was a Mangala that had just gone around to the other side of these buffaloes, so I think they might chase them back towards us. I think I've just got a visual.
One from our right.
I think I've still got a visual of a single Mangala. Here we go. She's just behind this bush, using it. And then if you follow my light to the right, she's probably 10 meters away. But you see those are the big buffalo bulls on the edge that are forming a protective layer around the herd. So I'm going to head back, Brian, to see if I can see the lion. There she is. There she is. You can see not displaying classic stalking techniques. The wind. Then maybe it sounds like they might have smelt. Maybe the wind changed a gust and these buffalo are moving ahead of me now. I'm just gonna pop my but they're still not too stressed. Maybe just a slight whiff of lion on the air. And we've got an update about the rest of the pride. So we've got 3 lionesses here. Apparently the junior was found on a buffalo carcass on Sibambili with one of the missing sub-adults that we presumed might be dead. And as well, it's on the move again. As well as later, an adult lioness arrived. So very interesting, and hopefully they will join up tomorrow on the sunrise safari. Now they seem to be moving with a little bit more purpose now. I think they maybe got a whiff of lion. You can see them through there. Sorry guys, just give me a second. There we go. Listen to that, it's like an earthquake. We're just gonna sit tight and listen. Hey, firm yours. I'm not sure if they chased or they smelt, but I think they have missed. But I'm just gonna stand by for another minute or two before I move. Just got a slight rumble. 350 hooves, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Not lion. Now, the wind's swirling like. Listen to that. There's going to be a lot of confusion. Dark. Windy. The wind's gusting. They maybe got a whiff of lion. They're not sure. They're not stampeding off. But they're definitely not sure about what's going on. They're not comfortable at all. I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but if I hold my spotlight up, I'm suddenly being encased in dust from all these buffalo moving. You can see all this dust. We've still got all the buffalo, and they're taking up defensive position. And there's a lot of bulls opposite us here, big old boys, who are now facing us. Wouldn't be surprised if we start. Sorry, Brian. And if we have a look here, look at this dust swirling. So there's lots and lots of. They're on the move again. They're running back this way now. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. We can't actually move now. There we go. Listen to that. Yes, and now we're getting covered in flies as well from these buffalo. There we go. That's it. Yours, if you can, head towards that 2-track that runs to the western side of quarantine. Hold on, guys, I think the lions are actually turned and chased by the buffalo. Just hang on. We'll try and get there as soon as possible. Just saw what I thought was a glimpse of a lion run past here, and it looks like the buffalo formed a laager. They've now turned around and run straight back towards me. I can't see any Ngala yet. So, lions rely on a lot of confusion on these dark and windy nights, and buff might get separated. They're still not too stressed. Maybe just a slight whiff of lion on the air.
But they are quite a lot further away now. You won't believe what else has happened. So remember how at the start of the sunset safari we were looking for young Madiba, and Yours, who was one of the landowners who was in the sighting with us, actually found him in the big Balanitis tree probably about 100 meters south of where we are with these lions. Now obviously because we don't want to copy that. We've got the lioness here just beyond the termite mound. Okay, so Brent is on the other side. And the buffalo do know now that the lions are here. Obviously, there's been 1 or 2 failed hunting attempts. So they are aware that they are here. But the lioness are just choosing their best route of approach. They've got their jobs cut out for them as 3 lionesses. They're just basically just scouting behind the herd and trying to pick up on any weakness that there might be. But it's not over yet. The buffalo are a little bit dazed and confused at the moment. They know that the lions are here, but they're not quite sure which way they should be going. Sounds to me like the buffalo are coming towards the lions. It does look that way. They're actually going to, I think they're going to wall together and try and chase her away again. Yes, she's up. She's moving away from them. They've formed a defensive wall and they're pushing in her direction. And she's not going to stick around to find out what happens. Here she goes. She's moving across to where her sister is. There you go. Head rub. And they both stop to look at those buffalo. And the buffalo are still advancing. They're fighting back and coming towards the lions. They're going to try and scare them off. I'm not sure where the 3rd lioness is. I don't see her at the moment. They're lying down again. So the lionesses know that they could definitely outrun the buffalo. Negative, she's come to move straight in front of me. Here we go, and the buffalo have got a fright. I think that they were advancing to where they thought the lions were, but the minute she moved forward, they panicked and ran backwards, but they haven't gone too far. There's a to and fro here between these 2 arch enemies of the bush. First the buffalo chase them away, and then the lions push forward, always looking for access to one of those calves or any one of the weaker animals. Now, I really don't know where that 3rd lioness is. I'm not too sure if she tried to sneak around or if she's somewhere a little bit further towards where the other lionesses are. They're lying down now, so I'm actually going to move. Oh, they're heading towards the buffalo again. Let me just let Brent know. They are following on towards the buffalo now. Stop here for a moment just to get an idea of what's happening. There you can see she's lying down again. I can hear movement off to my left. I'm just going to spotlight in that direction. Here we go, there's the other lioness. Just making her way along. They're both up now. Now, I'm pretty sure that Brent is going to have a better view very soon. They are heading straight towards him. Brent's got a better visual right now as we speak, so let's cross across to him and see what they're doing.
Isn't this absolutely incredible? And we're still with these lions. They're still pushing the buffalo herd. As I said, I've seen them do this for up to 4 or 5 hours before. And as we can see, there's the lioness there. The buffalo are just beyond them, and they keep on pushing. I can see 2 lionesses at the moment, and they're just looking for weakness. All of a sudden, in that last little patch while you were with Jamie, when we were next to the buffalo, you started to see a few calves appearing on the peripheries. So this is what they're looking for. They're looking for that one little moment of weakness. As you can see, they're not really expending too much energy until they're going to spot that little half gap, that little moment, and they will go on for a full charge. They're just going to keep walking behind these buffalo, lying down, resting. We can see the buffalo eyes staring back at these lions. We've got the 2 lionesses next to us, and they're just walking. They'll push the buffalo a little bit, wait to see what happens, push a little bit more, and they're just waiting for one of these older females in the herd, or possibly one of the youngsters. There is a possibility we might get to a stalemate at some point, where the lions might have expended a little bit too much energy and are going to need to rest, and that'll give the buffalo a bit of respite. The buffalo are not necessarily at night going to move too far from here. They probably only move 200-300 meters. The lions might rest up for an hour or two and then be back hot on their tail. I was chatting to my friend Tristan, who works to the west of us, earlier today, when I bumped into him when we were watching the buffalo cross. And he said these buffalo have had a really tough couple of days. The Majingalan male lions have chased them all the way from the western areas, and they are now being chased by the Nkuhumas now that they've arrived here. And fortunately, as you can imagine, it's not like following wild dogs hunting, which is fast. When lions hunt buffalo like this, it does make it a lot easier for us to keep up with them, because they just walk and push that periphery of the buffalo herd, walk and push again, and walk and push again. And so far, they've been quite kind in the areas they've been going through. Of course, as I say that, they're probably going to make our lives a little bit more difficult. So we're going to go through these little monkey oranges, which do make a lot of noise on the microphone, so I do apologize for that, but it is worthwhile to keep up with the lions. Lionesses are joining us here. Little greeting. They've probably spent quite a bit of time away from each other while they've been trying to attack these buffalo, splitting up, trying to. They definitely haven't given up yet. They still have that march of purpose. The only thing that I'm a bit worried about is that these buffalo run off out of our traverse area, and that's a possibility in the direction they're heading at the moment. Hoping we're going to pop out onto Impala Plain. Oh, I can see the buffalo out ahead again. Where it's a bit more open, we could see quite some interesting behavior play out there. Once they come out into the open and the buffalo realize it's only 3 lionesses, there's a strong possibility that they might turn around and chase the lions. I mean, isn't this incredible? We are on a live lion hunt out here in the African bush, and I know it is quite difficult sometimes to see what happens at the end of the hunt, but this is nature at its most raw, at its most brutal, and at its most pure. Very good stuff. So great update from Scott, who's looped around only the Wild Earth tracking vehicle and the 2 Wild Earth live vehicles that are out at the moment. So we're really lucky, really spoiled. So Scott's gone around to the other side, and those buffalo apparently are on Impala Plains already. So I'm right next to the lions. They're walking parallel to me. I am going to try get ahead of them to see what happens as they come out onto that big open area. Up with the buffalo, they're right on the edge of the open area. The lions are just to the left of us. Those girls gone. They were right next to me. They popped in behind us, Brian. Oh, they're still coming. Okay, we are now in a really good spot because we've got this nice bit of open ground in front of us. And the lions are about to come out of this thicket. Let's just make sure they haven't snuck behind us. Jamie, confirm, are those animals still mobile? Okay, don't worry, I've got them. There we go. You can just see it laying down in the grass there. There's one lioness. Sorry, go again.
So, welcome back, guys. Now, it's quite a chaotic moment here, so I'm not too sure where the other two lionesses are. I can see the lights of Brent's vehicles just to the front of me, so I'm sure they're just over there. Now, the buffalo are probably about 70 or so meters away from where I am now. And we've got this one lioness, and it's been absolutely incredible to watch how they've been working. It really, really has. Just the way that they've been working together as a team and searching around for some kind of weakness. Now, I'm not sure, I think Brent was trying to get hold of me. No, sorry. But just made sure that we've been coordinating how we approach this whole effort to make sure we don't make any kind of impact on their hunt, so that we get to keep track of them as we move. Now, I'm just listening to Brent's update as well as to where the other two lionesses are. This has been the most incredible evening. How amazing is this to get and to sit and watch how these animals coordinate their hunts on a night like tonight when there's so little light. And we've been very, very careful not to disrupt them. You can see this female, although she is lying down, she's still on the alert. There she goes. She's up and moving. She's got something planned. Now, which way is she going to go? And what kind of visual cue or audio cue is she responding to? How does she know when the others want her to move? It's incredible to see this instinct at work. Lying down again. Now I can't really describe it, but there is a palpable sense of tension in the air. And it's probably from a combination of what we know is happening, but also you can pick up on the feelings around you. You can see the tension in the lion's body language. They're really, really hungry and very determined. I'll say for almost absolute certain that they will eat tonight. It's the perfect hunting conditions. So even though the buffalo do know that they're here, they don't necessarily always know, because of this gusting wind, exactly where they are. Everything's gone completely still again. It seems like the buffalo have settled down. They were a bit restless earlier, but they've all seemed to have gone quiet. Could well be that they've decided that the lions have gone, or that they're not too sure that they are still a threat, so they might be lying down. I doubt it though. I think they're probably standing somewhere off in the dark, listening very, very intently to what is happening. And it's quite an eerie thought. And I did have my vehicle switched off earlier, and Chandra and I were sitting here in the dark, with all of our lights off, just listening to the sounds of the buffalo and the complete absence of sound from the lions. And you could just imagine what it must be like to have been our ancestors before we had anything like the lights that we have now, moving through the bush at night, and how absolutely essential that discovery of fire must have been. Just to give you an idea, if I were to turn off all of the lights, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to miss anything at this point, but if I was to turn off all of the lights, you would not be able to see anything at all. There's no moon, there's no stars. It is completely black. Eerie is that. I'm just going to be quiet so you can hear the sound of the hyena that's joined our little hunting party. And right on cue, the hyena stopped calling. He was contact calling off to the left of us. Now, Scott did mention, because Scott is out as well, just to help us in keeping track of what's happening here, he did mention that he saw two hyenas moving very, very quickly over quarantine in our direction. And of course, they are the ultimate opportunists. They know exactly where to head in terms of searching for action. You can see Brent off in the distance. He is currently with the buffalo. I'm not too sure. I don't see any lions in his silhouette. Might well be looking for where they are. Now, the thing about this particular buffalo hunt, as exciting as it has been, is that we have absolutely no way of knowing when these three lionesses are actually going to make their move and get hold of the buffalo. And I think perhaps it might be time to start thinking about leaving them. They could kill in the next 10 minutes, but they also could kill in the next 6 hours. We just have absolutely no way of knowing. But either way, what an incredibly exciting evening it has been to spend this time and learn so much about how these animals hunt and how they coordinate, and to just imagine what it must be like to be a buffalo in the middle of this group, pursued by 3 lions off in the dark somewhere. And as we sit and enjoy the silence of the African evening, I'm going to say a big thank you to all of you for sticking with us, for those of you who are still around. It has been a very exciting afternoon, and a massive thank you to Gendre for putting up with all of the branches smacking him in the face. And I'll bid you all a wonderful evening. We'll head across to Brent, and I will catch you all tomorrow for the sunrise safari.
Welcome back, everyone. It seems like everything's just calmed down a little bit at the moment. So after that high octane last hour, we've just toned it down a notch, and I find that quite hard to bring my excitement down. We've managed to extend for over an hour following these lions hunt buffalo. It's been incredible. We've seen buffalo chase lions, we've seen lions chase buffalo, and I know quite a lot of you out there are quite happy we probably didn't see a kill. So we've seen the best of both worlds tonight. Thanks very much for joining us on this sunset safari. And someone mentioned, after we've had quite a quiet morning and a quiet beginning of the drive, that it was Kata Day, and Kata Day it turned out to be, with the 3 Nkuhumas chasing buffalo all around Djuma. At the moment, stalemate. The lions are sleeping off slightly to the east of us. The buffalo are starting to bed down behind me here. I by no means think this is over for the evening. I think the lions will probably try again multiple times if they don't catch something, but that's probably going to happen in an hour or two. So unfortunately, as much as we'd love to stay live with them the whole night, we do have to get the vehicles back on charge and the cameraman fed. But from Brian and myself here on the Wendy, thank you very much for joining us. We really enjoyed having your questions, and what a fantastic way to end off Saturday Sunset Safari. So from all of us here, including the Thumb, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will definitely be following up on this story on the Sunrise Safari to see what happened.